let's get into the Rams. I don't know what is happening. This show is all out of control. Off the rails already. 3 minutes, 41 seconds in. Last year, 10-7. Scraped their way into the playoffs.
Hey.
Scraped. Hey. And I think everyone and their mother was rooting for Matthew Stafford to beat the Lions in their most recent playoff appearance.
Yeah.
I know I was, but ended up not happening. They still have Sean McVay as the same coach, same offense. Sean McVay's the play caller. Starting offense. This is the ADP on Underdog as of this morning, or as of 6:30. Excuse me, as of June 30th. I don't know if that's accurate, or you updated it this morning, Josh. But
that's accurate. I haven't had a chance to update the ADP, but if it shifted any, it's like maybe
it's one or two.
It's not July. It's going to shift anyway.
It's going to be a major shift in the next 30
Well, because when LaQuan's in the draft, Matthew Stafford's 101 when you think about it. No, Matthew Stafford is currently QB 19 on Underdog ADP. Again, this is best ball. As we, I'm sure, get into the back half of July and into August, you will start seeing more redraft ADP, and these numbers might start making a little more sense. And Jimmy Garoppolo currently not being drafted, the backup to Matthew Stafford. Kyren Williams, how about have a good year and jump to RB8? Blake Corum, his backup, the rookie, RB35. Behind him, Zach Evans, Ronnie Rivers not being drafted. The wide receiver 1 is not Cooper Kupp, probably is on the depth chart, but it is actually Puka Nacua, wide receiver 7 in ADP. Cooper Kupp behind him at wide receiver 22. Drops all the way down to Demarcus Robinson at 80, formerly a Chief and formerly a Raven, now a Ram. Tutu Atwell, wide receiver 122.
Should be undrafted. Sorry.
I mean, he was relevant for a week, maybe 2, and now he's not.
All teams should have height requirements.
Ryan Weisse, known heightist, everybody.
So here's the crazy thing. They wouldn't have an RB1 or an RB2 in Kyren Williams or Blake Corum, and they wouldn't have Tutu Atwell on the team.
Oh, I'm just talking about wide receivers.
Okay.
Short running backs are fine. As my wife likes to say, they can run right between the offensive lineman's legs.
There you go.
That's I guess that's how
Short Kings.
That's how Darren Sproles made his money.
About the short kings at running back.
Hey, and you're the exact opposite, so that's great. At tight end, Colby Parkinson, tight end 30, got money for some reason this offseason. They make $8 million a year. Davis Allen, who? And then somebody ET phone home. Where the fuck is Tyler Higbee? He is not being drafted. He got burnt on the California beach too much. I don't really know what's happening with this man.
Yeah.
Still stuck in LA traffic on his way to training camp, apparently.
Or a late season ACL tear.
No.
There you go.
No, that's
I was going to
exactly
say, even if you go to ourlads.com where like they keep up with all the depth charts, they still have Higbee as tight end 1 on the depth chart.
Yeah.
That's why like the Underdog ADP with this is so wild.
It's everybody he has to start the season on the pup. He's too old.
Yeah.
He got hurt the first week of the playoffs. He's not going to start the season.
But can we all agree that a Rams tight end for fantasy does not
shouldn't
matter
be touched
ever.
at all?
It does not matter. I don't
You're
understand.
telling me they're not going to throw the ball to Colby Parkinson, making the second most of any receiving threat on this team at $8 million a year?
The Rams have shown us many things through the years. One, they pay a lot of money. Todd Gurley, Clay Matthews, Cooper Kupp in a sense as well. And we don't care. We don't care about draft capital because Tutu Atwell is a second-round pick. So it goes on to where, like, we pay a tight end. It's like, oh, he's tight end 1. Oh, target share is going to – no, he's just there to get the money. That's it.
To be fair, Tutu Atwell was technically the first pick for the Rams in that draft. So when you think about it, he was basically a first-round pick.
Just wait. This year he'll have some value with those return yards.
Is he returning?
He's not listed. He's not listed as their returner right now. I'll just throw that out there. But
he'll find his way there.
I say we all have a lot to learn right now. Their returners are Austin Trammell. They actually have Kyren Williams listed as a returner, and Boston Scott returned kicks last year. So.
Oh, there you go, Boston Scott. There's your returner. But we will start with the man, the myth, the legend, Matthew Stafford, quarterback 19. LaQuan, you have him highlighted. I assume you think he's a steal at 19.
Absolutely. I mean, we have to understand how he came into the season last year, how this offense in general, like 5 games without Cooper Kupp, to start the season off. So thank God we have somebody like Puka Nacua who was able to step up in that offense and be able to produce the way he was able to produce. So then you get Cooper Kupp back, and then the following week, Kyren Williams is gone for 5 to 6 games. So therefore, the run game takes a huge dip in production, and you're looking at Matthew Stafford going out there to have all these high weeks. Let's fast forward to where Kyren Williams comes back. Cooper Kupp is now somewhat healthy back together. He was a top 5 quarterback. He led the league in passing yards per game in those final 6 games, and he was putting up highs of 25 points, 26 points, and we obviously watched them scrape their way into the playoffs. They were the most dangerous team going into the playoffs. So I feel as though this is the energy that we're going into this next season. We have a healthy Cooper Kupp, not battling injury, not having a high ankle sprain, surgery, et cetera, entering camp. Matthew Stafford, that low in drafts in any format, is crazy to me.
I love that LaQuan just threw Joe's intro back at him, scraping
What?
into the playoffs.
They lost in the first round. Well, I mean,
Listen,
that's
that I understand we lost in the first round. We should have won that game, but tons of injuries happened.
my unhad balls should be my uncle. If the United States men's soccer team just knew what soccer was, maybe they beat Uruguay. There's a lot of ifs. There's a lot of ifs.
Yeah.
And
It was a good game. As a Rams fan, I was happy.
it was a very good game. I do have to say, I agree with you that Matthew Stafford probably feels a little low here, considering he's around guys such as, and there's a lot of would you rathers here. We might play a lot of that.
Might as well do it. Let's go.
The QB 18 is such a misnomer on best ball. I've been doing a ton of best ball drafts lately. He's going as people's last pick for guys who weren't happy about where their quarterback ended up. In every draft where I end up with Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp, I instantly go add him to my queue because I'm like, I'm going to get him at the end of this draft. It's the perfect stack. And to LaQuan's point, from week 12 to week 18, he was the QB 7 in all of fantasy last year.
Let's go.
Smash.
Matt Stafford has been on the same Phillip Rivers thing where he's just bottom quarterback 1 every year. So it is crazy he is this low. And we have extra time today. So we will play a little Would You Rather. LaQuan, you probably never heard of this game. It's called Would You Rather. It's very simple. We pick the player in question. We compare them to another player at a common ADP. You then say who you would rather have on your fantasy roster. It's a very simple game. I know you've probably never heard it before, so I have to explain it in depth on what exactly it is. Mm-hmm. So Matthew Stafford currently quarterback 19. We will go from 17, 18 down to 21. There may be one guy you take over Matthew Stafford, but I'm going to venture to say this is a pretty Matthew Stafford heavy. I don't need an explanation, just need who would you rather? Justin Herbert or Matthew Stafford, LaQuan?
Matthew Stafford.
Ryan.
They're that close in cost. I would take Herbert.
I know you're coming up on Herbert, so I knew that would be the answer for you. Josh.
Yeah, I'm Herbert. I have him as a top 10 quarterback this year.
I would probably take Stafford. I like Stafford.
Let's go.
Cousins or Matthew Stafford? LaQuan.
Oh, Matthew Stafford.
Ryan.
Don't know what I'm getting from Cousins yet. Give me Matthew Stafford.
Josh.
Stafford.
If Cousins is fully healthy, I don't think that's even a question, but we have no idea. Matthew Stafford. 20 and 21. Again, feel like no-brainers, but this one's interesting. Matthew Stafford or Aaron Rodgers, LaQuan?
Matthew Stafford.
Ryan.
Hate Aaron Rodgers. It's Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, obviously. Josh.
Very easily Matthew Stafford.
What a fall from great. Aaron Rodgers, the greatest quarterback to ever live.
Yikes. Didn't age well.
I saw all I needed to see from him last year.
4 plays in the 20. Again, I am hoping it is Monday Night Football again, and the same guy who tackled him to tear his Achilles last year is on the opposing team again. Are we rooting for injury? No, we never say we're rooting for injury.
No.
But when you think about it, would it be a good giggle on Monday Night Football?
Oof, I would have to hold my mouth and laugh because that's evil.
I'd laugh at 8:23 p.m. Eastern on Monday.
If underdog gives us the over/under 1 yard thing like they did, I'm betting the under this.
The under. Could you imagine?
Let's just leave it at that.
Could you imagine? That's awesome.
Oh
Okay, last one. Matthew Stafford. Or it again just feels like cupcake. Deshaun Watson.
I knew that's who it was going to be.
Oh God, Stafford.
Ryan.
I'm never betting on Deshaun Watson. It's Stafford.
Josh.
It's Stafford very easily.
It's not even close. So he's very far and away the guy where he is going around. Yeah. And then as you get above that, it's Jared Goff, Tua, Trevor Lawrence. I would say there's conversations for all of them there.
Yeah, that's where the conversation starts.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So he's fairly properly rated, but with the guys around him, it's not even a question. He's the guy you want on your team. He has a low ADP. Two guys that happen to have skyrocketed in ADP after fantastic seasons last year. Kyren in his second year, Puka in his first. I'll start in the backfield, and we'll just work our way out to the sideline. Josh, you have Kyren Williams at RB8. I truly don't know if you like this or you don't like it, and I'm going to venture to say you don't like it because you didn't like Kyren Williams last year.
You're right, and I've changed my mind. But I've changed my mind. Okay, I'm in on Williams this year. Sometimes you guess wrong, Joe. No, so I mean, you really just kind of have to look at the situation, right? When Sean McVay has a running back that he's willing to lean on that can handle the carries, he's going to lean on him. He wants to give that back 20 plus touches in a game. We saw with Kyren Williams last year, he was the RB2 in fantasy in a points per game behind Christian McCaffrey. When you give him the volume, he's scoring touchdowns and he's putting up yards. He was fifth among running backs last year, tied for fifth among running backs last year in total rushing touchdowns. But when Sean McVay has that quality running back, they score rushing touchdowns. You go all the way back to 2018, they finished second in rushing touchdowns. 2019 tied for fourth. They were tied for 10th in 2020, and then they were eighth last year in rushing touchdowns. When they have a reliable running game, Sean McVay will lean on him. Kyren Williams came in and did that. Behind him, they had nothing, absolutely nothing. And LaQuan pointed it out earlier. They will spend high draft capital for depth. It's just what they do. Well, guess what? They needed a running back because they have no depth. That's where Blake Corum comes in. They have a very similar play style, but Sean McVay already knows what he has in Kyren Williams. As long as Kyren Williams is healthy, he's going to be on the field, and that's what you're going to draft him at. RB8, maybe it seems a little high considering last year maybe was a fluke for all we know, and Blake Corum is the big question mark. And I'm going to get to another big question mark a little bit later when we talk about the Dolphins, but I don't see the threat of Blake Corum to really challenge Kyren Williams. They rebuffed the offensive line. They added two quality guards. Steve Avila, the center, has another leap here. There's everything around him is working in his favor, and he put up 5 yards a carry last year. A healthy Cooper Kupp makes him even that much more dangerous.
Gentlemen.
I just worry he's dealing with an injury already. So I want to see him get through a foot injury where he has competition. These are the only things that worry me on him. And the fact that none of the competition nor the injury is baked into his ADP. It's the same thing that worries me about Puka Nacua when we talk about is you have these two guys who were late round draft picks, and now all of a sudden you're being asked to invest an awful lot in them. I was one of the first ones on the Williams train last year, mainly because he was in every taxi squad of every dynasty team I had from the year before, because I love jumping on those late round pass catching running backs. I did not expect the complete back that he turned out to be last year. I just want to see him healthy. So right now at RB8, I can't touch him.
But that's the middle of the third round, though.
Again,
that's the thing. You're still getting you're a starting running back in the third round.
I'll tell you right now, he's going in best ball drafts anyway. He's going right near Travis Etienne, and I'm going to take Etienne 100 times out of 100. So
I'd skip both.
Of course.
Yeah.
LaQuan.
I agree. It's the third round. I'm not even looking at a running back there. I've been just attacking the wide receivers, just hitting them heavy early. And I feel like Kyren, you're already buying him knowing that, there is a high risk of injury. Like his rookie year, he got hurt on kick return. Like, what are we doing here? And then came back and then got injured again. And then we look at last season, he missed a very big chunk of the season. In the middle of the season where we just get Cooper Kupp back, the team is healthy together. And then, he kind of bails out. So I think Blake Corum is there to kind of take some of that load off. Like you might see the dip in production in touchdowns. You might see the dip in production in touches all around because we haven't seen Kyren Williams kind of work into that full workload that, that Sean McVay's been chasing all these years. He's been trying to get Todd Gurley prototype and have 230, touches a year. But I feel like Kyren should be fine. I just can't get him in that third round.
We just talked about, again, Ryan, you just brought up two guys, late round picks, not even drafted, to immediate first round to top 3 round draft capital. Puka's going in the back end of the first round. How do we just overall feel about that?
So the debate I've been having on the mock draft show is we're clearly drafting him at his ceiling. Did we see the best of him already? And that's kind of my question I was going to leave for the group. But the one thing I've gotten away from when I'm talking about drafting him at his ceiling is everybody you take in the first 2 rounds, you're drafting at your ceiling. The first 2 rounds, you're not looking for a sleeper. You're looking for someone to go out there and get the job done. And I'm not concerned about Puka Nacua getting the job done. What I am concerned about is this was damn near our record pace last year. 1,500 yards, 6 touchdowns. Obviously, we could see the touchdowns go up, but are we really expecting 14.2 yards, 65% catch rate? Those 2 numbers don't often play together. Usually when you see guys with over 13% or 13-yard catch rates, 13 yards per reception, their catch rates aren't 65% unless they are truly elite. And I want Puka to be that. Believe me, I want Puka to be that. But again, my question to you guys is, have we already seen the best from him? Is there a chance he tops this, LaQuan?
He could, but I think his ADP is also baked into where people are banking on Cooper Kupp to get hurt again. So it's
let's bet against Cooper Kupp.
But is that good or bad for him?
It's bad. I would never take him in the first 8 picks.
Great,
that's
great
where I've been seeing him going. It's great for Kupp because you get the value on Kupp, but I think more so you're going to be dealing with the headache of trying to figure out who's going to have the really, really spike weeks in redraft and who's going to be the guy this week and that week, because they can basically share and eat equally on this team. I mean, we go back to where, the Rams had Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, and Cooper Kupp. They all coexisted. Do that. Cooper Kupp did face injury, but they were all on pace to have 3 wide receivers have 1,000 yards and all equally have their roles set to where they're able to eat and coexist at the same time. So I'm not taking Puka in the first round, period. I really feel as though you're just banking on Cooper Kupp to get hurt. You're banking on him to get force fed the first 6 weeks of the season. Because once Cooper Kupp came back and things started to really align, there wasn't really a lopsided of target share. There wasn't a lopsided in yards and catches. One had his week, the other had his week. The first game back that Cooper Kupp came back, he had 118 yards. Puka, he kind of got some garbage time yards where he had 70, 71. I forget exactly the number. Don't quote me on that. But that Eagles game was kind of notioning okay, Stafford's struggling, but where is he going? Where is he going to rely on? Where is he going on third down? It's Cooper Kupp. So if you have to bank on Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp's injury, you're going to have your heart broken if Cooper Kupp stays healthy.
Yeah, Kupp being healthy, that I just don't see how they're going to be able to keep both these guys in that 140, 150, 160 target range, because
it's been
at
done.
Wide receiver 7 price, not in LA. None of them topped 140. None of them topped 140 targets.
120, I think. I mean, we could check it. It doesn't matter, but I think that more so we've seen this work with 2 wide receivers get fed tons of targets. We've seen them have over 120 targets with Robert Woods and with Cooper Kupp before. We've seen this displayed multiple times, even when, Todd Gurley was eating off that play getting targets. But
that was less than 22% target share. Puka had 27.5% last year.
The best
That's what I'm saying. You're drafting him with the idea that he's going to have a 25+% target share.
I said the best thing that could happen
has 130 targets. That's not happening for Puka.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing that could happen would be, this is going to sound awful, but for Kyren to be hurt, because Kyren's going to take away valuable touchdowns that if they don't have Kyren, they may not be ready to give it to Corum. All of a sudden, you're going to get to see 5-yard in routes and fades to these receivers from Stafford versus just handing the ball to Williams. So,
before I do a little would you rather end the Rams segment here, in the first 36 picks, according to ADP, I'm looking at right now, 26 of them are receivers.
Wide receivers. It's nuts this year. Absolutely nuts.
Insane. So for those that love running backs, such as myself.
Oh,
This is music to my ears.
Every time every time you look, there is a great run. The amount of times I'm still getting Jonathan Taylor in the second round right now, it's just crazy in these best balls. I'm going to be interested to see when we get to redraft season and we have so many more people coming back to the game. Do we see it revert back to running back early because it's
again more
ingrained in
casual
so many brains?
players?
Yeah,
yes, 100%. Not the degenerates who have been drafting 17 best ball drafts every day since February 13th. Ryan Weisse. Okay, Puka.
Thank you, LaQuan. Yeah. Good to know I'm in good company.
LaQuan. Puka's at 7. Just to wrap it up quick, I'm gonna say a name. If you would take Puka over this guy, speak up. That's all I'm saying.
If I would take Puka over
If you
him?
would take Puka over this guy, say something. If not, give me the little nod of disapproval. Amon-Ra St. Brown. A.J. Brown.
Yes.
Okay. Garrett Wilson.
Yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I hate
it. All right, LaQuan and I are on the same page. No, come on. Garrett Wilson? Seriously? All right, fine. Marvin Harrison Jr.
My rankings say yes, but man, Marvin Harrison is an interesting guy.
I'd rather have Puka.
Drake London.
Yes.
Give me London.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, LaQuan. Yeah.
We're here.
Talk shit about your own team. I do the same thing. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I'm big on that. That's kind of what I'm going for.
Hell yeah. And then you're getting into Chris Olave, Brandon Ayuk, Nico Collins.
No.
So that's Puka
Cut off
there.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Since you say Olave, I'm done.
Yeah. So essentially where he would be is maybe a couple spots lower, which is he's currently the 110. He would be at the 2-1 or the 2-2.
Exactly.
So,
I'm happy getting him on the turn, but I need to secure
the other end of the turn.
Yeah.
You need to secure somebody else on the turn before I agree.
Especially with them letting the running backs fall the way they are right now.
100%.